Good evening. So, few questions we need to ask. Whether we want happiness or not. Interestingly, we always find everybody saying, yes, I want happiness. The second question is, for how many days you want happiness? I ask this question everywhere. Then people laugh. They are laughing because they are saying, Geshe, when it comes to happiness, it's not just for few days, but as long as possible, as much as possible. So this is not something we learn from Buddhism. This is not something taught to us by our parents. It's the way we are born. Our inborn wish to have long-lasting peace and happiness. So this you need to realize, that my nature is such that I want long-lasting happiness and peace. Right? And generally speaking, this is a very good news, because your wanting happiness, long-lasting happiness and peace, as an inborn quality, shows that you are capable of achieving it. There are many things that nature has hidden in us. Normally we don't pay attention, but if you pay a little bit of attention, then you will realize that this inborn quality, wanting long-lasting happiness and peace, actually is telling you that you have the capacity to get that long-lasting happiness and peace. So that's good news. One, you want long-lasting happiness and peace. Second, it is possible. Our nature says it actually. But still you have to think, okay, I want long-lasting peace and happiness. Is it possible? You need to ask. Many, according to some of the modern scientists, they say long-lasting happiness may be impossible. Because they say when you talk about happiness, it is an adaptable experience. Adaptable experience. Which means, for example, today if you buy a brand new sofa, which you never had and which you wanted to have, and you got it, you feel very comfortable. But as time passes on, you get adapted to it. Then you lose your interest. You don't get that much comfort or happiness that you thought you will get earlier. So that's adaptable happiness. So it will give you happiness for some time, not a long time. So that's what many scientists say. And some of them say happiness is a social comparison. Social comparison. What you have is, and how much happiness you will be able to get is based on comparing other people's level of happiness, what level of enjoyment they have, We live in a society. So again, it changes. That's what they say. But from Buddhist perspective, I think I see no problem there, because according to Buddhism, we talk about three types of suffering. Suffering of change. And in Buddhism, it's very clearly said, from those suffering of change, you won't get happiness. It's a suffering. That means the new sofa you bought, the new friendship you got, these are basically suffering of change. If you spend some time with them, then you don't see getting that long-lasting peace and happiness. That's called suffering of change. Like this particular sitting here. First few 10, 15 minutes, it's okay, you feel comfortable. And especially you came out of your own choice, I did not force you, so it's okay. But if I keep on talking until 12 p.m., many of you will leave after maximum an hour and a half. I think number of people will start leaving. At 12, if I stay until 12, probably everybody is gone. You see? Because you can't sit so long. It changes into suffering. The initial experience of happiness changes into suffering. So that clearly shows that many of the areas and things from where we think we'll get happiness is actually gradually leads to suffering. They are not reliable. Not because they want to cheat us, but the nature is such. So this is basically trying to say that you want that, not this kind of course not suffering of suffering, even suffering of change which you thought is happiness, that will also gradually produce suffering, so you won't get suffering, peace from there. But it is possible to get that long-lasting happiness according to Buddhism. And that long-lasting happiness has to be cultivated from within by removing the negative emotions. Now even by common sense, even according to the scientists, they talk about pro-social emotion. Pro-social emotion. That means emotions that is at least good in the society, pro-social emotion. They don't talk about virtuous practice and things like that, but at least because of the need, they talk about pro-social emotion, you see. So that basically means something that's good for everybody. Okay, so if you especially go within and reduce the negative emotions, and particularly if you remove the negative emotions from the very root, then it's possible to have that long-lasting happiness. And that long-lasting happiness is then not dependent upon the changing situations and events. The situation may be changing, events may be fluctuating, but still you will not feel disturbed. You are not dependent upon the changing situations. Our ordinary experiences of happiness and peace is very much dependent upon the situation. If you are surrounded by good friends, you feel happy. If you are surrounded by disturbing people, you feel unhappy. Therefore, Buddha, in one of his Mahayana Sutra, he says, don't let your mind become like a bird's feather. Bird's feather, you know? The bird's feather is very light. So even if there's a slight wind this way, it will be tossed this way. If there's a slight wind coming from this way, it will be tossed. It will be tossed all around, the feather. So if your mind becomes very fickle, like a feather, it's for sure that you will be tossed around with the changing situations and events. You will become a victim. So therefore, what this Buddhist teaching is saying is, don't become a victim to the changing situations and events. It is in that sense the Buddha is saying, take good care of oneself, in that sense. So therefore your happiness and your peace is in your hand. Now whether, as I said, life is choice, life is full of choices. It's really a question of choosing the right thing. What you want to choose, it's up to you. If you choose the bad thing, you will get the bad things. If you choose the good things, you will have the good things. So it's really, really very much dependent upon what you choose. So be selective. Be choosy in that sense to get the long-lasting peace and happiness. And it is possible. This human mental attitude is amazing. It will become fickle, it will become vulnerable, and it can also become very strong with wisdom, with insight. You don't see much reason to be, to let yourself fluctuated by changing situations, events. So that's possible. I'm not saying it is easy, but it's very much possible. So it's in your hand. It's not in the hand of anybody. In the hand of all of us individually. So you have to have that confidence, you have to have that trust, and make a promise, whatever be the situation, I will never make my mind unhappy. I give this as a commitment. Every time I give teaching, I tell them, okay, I give you a commitment, like tantric commitment. And what is that commitment? The commitment is, now from today onwards, whatever may happen in my life, I will never make my mind unhappy. That's possible. Because that's very much dependent upon how you see things. If you keep on highlighting the negativities, bad things, complaining, you will always have difficulties, problems. If you highlight more of the positive things, your own potential and good things, you will actually see the good things, you will be happy. So that from that perspective it is in your hand. So don't cheat yourself. If other people cheat you, it's understandable. I can have sympathy with you. But if you cheat yourself, I can't have much sympathy with you. The only thing I can do is, okay, you are cheating yourself, you are ignorant, I can help you by teaching or explaining the situation. So as I said, in a way we are suffering unnecessarily. Unnecessarily. Unnecessary because if you have a little bit more insight, knowledge, then you will know how to live your life. I can never forget one incident that I happened experienced with His Holiness Dalai Lama, because I was with him for 16 years as his translator, supposed to be translator. So I got this great many privileges. And on one occasion, I don't remember who that other person was who came to see His Holiness. So I was sitting here, His Holiness sitting here, this other person sitting here. So His Holiness was explaining the importance of wisdom and compassion, especially the wisdom for developing compassion. And then he gave the example. And he said, like, on this table, if there's water here, an ant here, thirsty, looking for water. It's, from our side, from our perspective, it's very easy. Ant is here, water is here, he has to just come here. But for that ant, it's a big vault. It's a long journey, or he may not be clever, or whatever. But we who have, as a human being, from a different perspective, having a little bit bigger vista or bigger perspective, we are able to see this poor ant, what is just here and he don't know how to go there. And then we feel compassion. So like that, when you have the wisdom, have the knowledge of the bigger picture, then when you see people committing stupid things, you feel compassion, like the small kids, you feel compassion for them. If they are confused with very small things, they cry over very small things, then you don't develop anger or hatred to your kids, but you develop love, affection, by saying that, oh, these kids, they are so innocent, they do all these stupid things, you have more love. So similarly, from a Buddha or Bodhisattva's viewpoint, we are those small kids, doing very small superficial things and completely lost into it, not getting the bigger picture, you see. So that bigger picture can be seen by developing the wisdom which sees the universal truth. You call it emptiness, you call it impermanence, you call it suffering. There are so many levels of truth. By whose seeing, you know how to liberate yourself. So that's why we are reading this text. Okay, so I don't want to get digressed. Let us try to finish the text. Verse number 62, yeah? Buddha's greatness can be merely explained through the possession of the 10 powers. Where each power is as infinite as the countless sentient beings. Like, for example, you can later on try to find out the 10 powers. If I try to explain all of them, we will have no time. The first power is the power that knows what are the sources for positive deeds and what are the sources for negative deeds. He knows that perfectly. Similarly, the Buddha also has the power to know the minds of each and every individual sentient beings. And thus has the capacity to help sentient beings, guide sentient beings in a way which is suitable and appropriate to them. Now in our ordinary case, even if I have the best motivation, because I can't read your mind, I'm not clairvoyant, I'm not omniscient. So there's a limit I can do. But if you're completely enlightened, then you can read people's mind. What is the predisposition of that person? What is the positive and negative imprint in the mind of that person? What teaching will be useful? What teaching will be not useful, you see? So accordingly, he will give a suitable teaching. That's why if you read the Buddha's teaching, you will find two levels, interpretative teaching and definitive teaching. He did not give all the ultimate teaching to everybody, because many will not be able to understand. So he gave one level of teaching which is called interpretative. That means that is not his ultimate or final teaching, it has to be interpreted. The four tenet systems came into because of, it's like teaching the kindergarten students and also PhD students. When you teach kindergarten students, your ultimate aim is that they are able to gradually go up to higher classes and finally do their doctorate or PhD. That's your aim, long-term aim. But right now you can't teach the PhD courses to the kindergarten students because of their immaturity of age and so forth. So you teach a subject which is suitable to their disposition. Likewise to different levels of classes. So similarly, the Buddha also, judging the disposition, capacity of different people, he gives different levels of teachings, which are categorized as interpretative teaching, and then those who are able to understand much better than the definitive teaching. The purpose of the interpretative teaching is to lead to the final, ultimate or definitive teaching. So these are some of his powers. Buddha's greatness can be merely explained through the possession of the 10 powers, where each of the power is as infinite as the countless sentient beings. So this is basically saying, just as we have infinite directions, but they can be included in the 10 directions in terms of direction. They are infinite directions, but we can, for our understanding, it can be included in the 10 directions. So similarly, Buddha has infinite, countless powers and qualities, but they can be included in the 10 powers. That's the meaning. This infinitude of the Buddha can be explained in ways similar to space, earth, water, fire, and wind of all directions. Just as space, earth, water, fire, we cannot measure them. They are infinite. So similarly, the Buddha's qualities are also infinite. We cannot talk about it. Why the Buddha is able to such a state of immeasurable qualities? Because he has collected infinite merits. When he was an ordinary sentient being, he accumulated infinite merits towards infinite sentient beings. And the result is infinite qualities. Just as you collect the cause, similarly you experience the fruit. So that's explained in the next verse. The reason, if one fails to see the infinitude of causes as great as this, one will not believe in the infinitudes of the enlightened ones. So this is talking about the reason. The reason is, he is saying, if one fails to see the infinitude of the causes, that means if you fail to understand that Buddha has accumulated infinite causes, then you will also be not able to understand why Buddha has infinite qualities. The Buddha has infinite qualities. In other words, it is saying that the Buddha has immeasurable infinite qualities because he has collected infinite positive qualities. Like if you plant just one seed, then there will be just one tree or one plant. If you plant many seeds, there will be many plants, many trees. So that's just the reason. And then next he explains the process of collecting those immeasurable merits. Hence, in front of an image, a stupa, or the likes, recite these 20 stanzas 3 times each day. Now he's giving the instruction to us that you should recite the 20 verses after this verse for collecting the infinite qualities. If you also want to get enlightened, if you want to become Buddha with that immeasurable infinite qualities, then recite these 20 verses as much as possible and in fact practice them, meditate on them. So number one, the first one is with deep veneration I always seek refuge in the Buddha, Dharma and Sangha and Bodhisattvas as well. To these objects of worship I humbly prostrate. So this is basically talking about the 7-limb branch practice. 7-limb branch practice, where you take refuge to Buddha, Dharma and Sangha and also pay homage to the Bodhisattvas. So the 7-limb practice starts from this verse, not just this verse. So this is the first verse out of the 20 verses that he is asking us to remember and to practice. So when you take refuge not only to Buddha, Dharma and Sangha, but also to the Bodhisattvas. In other words, you pay respect to everything or everybody that is worthy of paying homage. That's what this verse is saying. Refraining from non-virtuous actions, I shall thoroughly uphold all virtues. I shall deeply rejoice for all the merits the embodied beings may well possess. Refraining from non-virtuous actions, I shall thoroughly uphold all merits or virtues. And then I shall deeply rejoice. So you can clearly see refraining from negative deeds. Rejoicing is one of the branches. And then in the next verse, with head bowed and palms put together, I pray to all fully accomplished Buddhas to turn the wheel of Dharma and live as long as sentient beings remain. So that means you are requesting the Buddhas not to pass away, and you are also requesting them to continuously teach, turn the wheel of the Dharma. That's why we make long life offerings. People who have no idea, they might think, oh, this long life offering is another drama. There are people who come and request for a long life of Lama, then Lama also says, okay, I will live long, kind of. So this is like cheating each other. People who have no idea. But the main idea is like even in ordinary case, let us take the example of a family where the husband and wife and the kids, they live very harmoniously, they love each other. Okay? The husband remembers the wife remembers the husband, the parents love the kids, Then even if they go out for work in the day, as soon as they finish the work, they immediately run coming to the home. Because they have love, they want to live with the family. The family is also looking for them. It's just like praying for long life. The husband and wife also immediately come because they want to see the wife, husband, kids and things like that. So because of this harmony, they live longer. It's really like that. So similarly, if as an expression that we love the teacher, we want him live long, we make this gesture of making long life, then the Lama also realizes, yes, I'm useful. I'm benefiting them. I'm making many people happy. So he also feels happy. And that happiness contributes towards the prolongment of life. So it's not a drama, it's not a show. Okay? And then especially in the case of great teachers, we need to request them to give teaching. Especially for the good teachers, like His Holiness. Therefore many people you see request him to give the teaching. The good teachers will normally come out making an advertisement or coming out saying, I'm giving teaching, please come. No, the bad teachers will normally come out. There is an amazing course enlightenment in 7 days. This is what we see in the West now, everywhere. I mean, I'm sorry to say, use the bad word. I mean, the motivation may not be bad in every cases, but there is likelihood. The good teachers, they want to just do their practice and hide, you see. So for those you need to request them to give teaching. Otherwise, he will not come around, advertising. Okay, so that's why it's important to request teachers to give the teaching, because especially in the case of highly learned good teachers, if we are unable to receive those teachings now, a time will come when we will have no realized teachers left to explain many of these teachings, which is a tragedy, you see. With head bowed and palms put together, I pray to all fully accomplished Buddhas to turn the wheel of Dharma and live for as long as sentient beings remain. So there's not much to explain. With merits accumulated through such acts or any actions I may or may not have done, I may or may not have done, may is okay. May not have done means it's basically saying the actions, the positive actions that I have done and will do in the future. That's the meaning. Otherwise, when you have done nothing, what is there to dedicate? So it means the positive actions that I have done and may not have done right now, but which I will do in the future. That's the meaning. May all sentient beings fully attain the unsurpassed mind of enlightenment. So this is making a special aspiration to benefit the countless. May all sentient beings. May all sentient beings means you are aiming towards the well-being of all sentient beings, including your enemy. You are not excluding anybody. If you exclude even one person that you don't like, who is your enemy, then your bodhicitta is not there. Because the definition of bodhicitta is, how nice if I become Buddha for the benefit of all sentient beings. It's not saying how nice if I become Buddha for all sentient beings except the Chinese leaders. No. If you do that, then that's not bodhicitta, you see. It's not bodhicitta. Okay? From the parlance of a bodhisattva, all sentient beings, whether they are harming you or helping you, they are like your children. Even in the case of mother, it is not necessary that all the children are well behaved. Some may be very naughty, you see. Some may be very good, but the mother shows love to all of them. So similarly, from a bigger picture, bigger perspective, you see the mistakes committed by everybody, including your relatives and friends, enemies. You are able to see clearly, yes, they are committing mistakes not because they like, but because of negative emotions. Negative emotions. When you are influenced by negative emotion, you even go to the extent of committing suicide. So it's not wonder that people are harming you. They even commit suicide. They even kill themselves under the influence of negative emotions. So when you develop that larger perspective, then you are able to develop that sense of compassion, love, universal sense of responsibility to everybody. So now you can see the importance of bodhicitta. There is no mind comparable to bodhicitta. Okay? So it's not easy, but we should pray. We should pray. Having acquired immaculate senses and overcome the states without leisure, may all beings enjoy freedom of actions and take delight in excellent livelihood. So that means, may I be able to achieve a life having acquired immaculate senses. Immaculate senses. Overcome the states without leisure. That means without leisure. The precious human life that we obtained is called a special life with 8 leisures and 10 freedoms. So that's what he's saying here. May I transcend, may I overcome the states without leisure, meaning may I achieve that human life with the 8 leisure and the 10 endowments. And may all beings enjoy freedom of actions and take delight in an excellent livelihood. Freedom of actions. What is it that is restricting our freedom? In today's world, everybody talks about freedom, independence. Nations want independence. Individual people, they want freedom. They are always struggling against their government, against the ruler for freedom, right? But the one that really restricts your freedom is not so much the external rulers and kings or other countries, but the one which really restricts your freedom is your negative emotions. So therefore we need these teachings are so beautiful. Because it's basically saying there are many things you can do without depending on others. And if you want to remain dependent upon others, if you want to become independent, if you want to get freedom, you get freedom from the dictatorship and operation of the negative emotions. Then nobody can oppress you. I mean, it's amazing. It's something that we don't do, but if we are able to do, freedom is yours, independence is yours. Look at Milarepa. He was not concerned about which nationality he belonged to, which country he belonged to, what is happening there, here. He had enjoyed complete freedom. Look at the birds even. They enjoy much more freedom than us, in a way. Like in human beings, on the one hand we talk about freedom, then on the other hand there are so many restrictions, Even in a democratic country, right and duty are 2 sides of the same coin. You need to get right, you need to get certain duties also done, performed, you see. So there is kind of restriction. But if you remove these negative emotions from within, you will be able to get unrestricted freedom. Because nobody can control your mind. Nobody can control your mind. There are cases of some Tibetans who imprisoned in Chinese prison for 17, 16 years. And there are cases of practitioners who came out after 16, 17 years of imprisonment. They came out by saying, I was able to do my best practice when I was in the Chinese prison. Imagine, 16, 17 years, not 16, 17 days, 16, 17 years. Because they can physically lock you in, imprison you. But mind, nobody can control what you are thinking, what's happening. You may be visualizing Buddha, Bodhicitta, all the good things. Nobody can take that away from you. So therefore, these inner qualities, these inner treasures, if you pick up a habit of cultivating these inner qualities, wherever you go, they are there with you. Nobody can steal that from you. The external material accumulations, even if, first of all, you have to work so hard to get them, then even after you get it, there is risk of being robbed away, stolen by, getting moldy, So therefore, this inner quality is really amazing. So this is very powerful. May all beings enjoy freedom of actions. Right now we are controlled by negative emotions. So get freedom from these negative emotions. And take delight in excellent livelihood. We discussed about the 5 wrong livelihood. And all the fightings, conflicts, disagreements that we see in the society is because of livelihood, related to livelihood, greed. We live in a consumeristic society which is filled by greed. And Mahatma Gandhi very correctly said that there is enough for everybody's need, but not enough for everybody's greed. The earth has enough to sustain us. It really has enough to sustain us. But because of our own greed, we are destroying the planet. You see? And it looks like we are going to leave nothing for the future generation. Get everything right now, excavate the gold mine, the silver mine. Like when Tibet was free. Of course, these days people might say, because of illiteracy, Tibetans are stupid, barbaric, as the Chinese said. But actually, in accordance with the Buddhist teaching, Tibetans, when Tibet was free, they hardly exploited the natural resources. Water was pure as it is. Minerals were there as it is. My father used to tell me that in a place, now the name I don't remember, he was able to see gold all around. They even talk about gold which is like a horse, But nobody will pick it up with the belief that this is owned by some other spirits. If we take them away without proper permission or things like that, without knowledge, then they will harm us. Now, for many people, they will seem this is stupid, ludicrous. No, it is not. It's not. Because in those days, in Tibet, water means drinkable. You don't have to ask the question which one is drinkable, which one is not drinkable. Water means drinkable from everywhere. Even I remember. So pure. Now today, I asked this question even in a 5-star hotel in America. And asked the question that whether I can drink right from the tap in the 5-star hotel. And then the person to whom I asked the question, he said, maybe, not so sure. See, that's the situation. And now everybody has to buy this bottled water. Buying water. You buy bottled water or whatever, but we have started buying water. Very soon we'll start buying oxygen. Because there are many clever business people, they will bottle the oxygen and tell you, okay, if you don't use this bottled oxygen, the air is not good, you are going to die. Then stupid as we are, we'll all believe in that. Use that, you see. So now imagine where we are now. So this is all because of greed. Greed. Just thinking about oneself and not everybody. How to make the so-called profit. May all embodied beings possess precious jewels and have innumerable resources that do not exhaust in this world. So the prayer is that may all sentient beings, they should have all the, whether you call it money or whether you call it money or precious jewel, may all sentient beings have those things which they want and have innumerable resources, whether it's food or clothing or minerals, they do not exhaust in this world. That's the prayer. But prayer alone is not enough. We have to live our life in such a way that the resources remain intact. But we are exploiting the resource to such an extent that nothing will be left. We are turning every place a desert, unfortunately. May all women at all time become men par excellence. May all embodied beings possess intelligent and divine legs. So now this can be good translation or wrong translation also. May all women at all times. Similar lines come in Bodhicharya Avatara also, here also. One reason, if you translate as women, may all women become men, basically. Not just ordinary men, but men par excellence. Excellent man. If you translate in this way, if you take this as the original correct version, then it is said not because it looks down upon women, but because these were taught to the monks For the monks, celibacy is important, and women is the attraction. So therefore, like this. But interestingly, the commentary that I read, the commentary by Mipham Hinye, he is not using this word, man. May all women at all become. He simply says, may all women become excellent individuals. Not men. Excellent individuals, which could be men, which could be women. So that is what I read in that text just yesterday. That's one way of understanding. Another way of understanding is, actually it's good news. Because of certain cultural context in India and elsewhere, women were a little bit left behind. And in the Buddhist teaching they are saying, no, since the women are left behind, they should be brought to the level of the men. So from that perspective, it's not like looking down, it's really saying that they should be equal. So it really looks like that Buddhism also, like any other religion, has cultural influences. And it seems very clear that later on they saw the fault, and then in one of the latest teachings, tantric teachings, especially Kalachakra Tantra, which is the latest Tantra. So there, if you receive the Kalachakra Tantra initiation and do the commitments, then one of the commitment is, if you look down upon women, it is an infraction. And this is not said to the men. The women can look down upon men. But if men look down upon women, it's an infraction. So that means realize that shortcoming in the past because of cultural influence. It looks like that Buddha was making it up. Okay? So you need to read this in the right context. Then in the Bodhicharya Avatar also, it gives a very clear example of women. Not here it's not that clear, but in Bodhicharya Avatar, it highlights all the faults. Women has this, that dirty, this, that, so many things. And then after that he summarizes clearly that he taught it to the monks. Then he summarizes by saying that it's no point for you to explain all this in this detail about the faults of women, because you also have the similar faults. And you are living with that. And if you don't realize, then how will you realize others' faults? So again, I don't think there's any discrimination. But if there are some lapses, it has to do with the culture, okay? May all embodied beings possess intelligence. Intelligence here means wisdom. Wisdom. And divine legs. Divine legs. It doesn't say divine legs. I think this is a wrong translation. It doesn't say. It simply says possess wisdom and legs. Legs here means morality. Leg here means branch. Okay? May all beings possess good complexion. So these are the verses. This is the verse number 7 of the 20 that he has recommended, the 8 now that he's recommended. May all beings possess good complexion, excellent physique and notable charisma, beautiful to behold and free of sickness. May they enjoy great strength and long life. So in human life you all need all this. Good complexion, that means good to look at, handsome, beautiful, attractive, good physique, it's easy to understand, not lopsided, one hand long, one hand short, not like that. and charismatic or magnificent. beautiful to hold. If you are beautiful to hold, then just by seeing you, people feel happy. You see? Therefore, even in the case of the teachers, it is said that if the teachers, they are clean and looking good, that also draws a lot of students. So in order to help others, you need all these facilities. And free of sickness. Free of sickness, yes, if you are healthy, then you can do many things. If you are sick, there's not much you can do. So therefore, again, as a practitioner or even otherwise, it's really, really important to take care of one's health. Most of us get sick because, number one, we are mentally sick, and secondly, we are so stupid, we don't know how to take care of oneself. Eat the wrong food. Even if you're having headache, lot of headache because of eating too much oil, still you keep on using oil. So we are like small kids, So for doing all these good things, we need to take very good care of oneself. I tell this to my Tibetan friends, the youths, that it's easy to talk about Tibetan freedom, independence, China go back, all these things. But if you don't take care of yourself, if you're physically sick, all this slogan and demonstration is meaningless. So empower yourself in terms of your health, in terms of your education. Then the success will be at your feet. But if you don't do your homework, simply like complaining, that's the problem with not just with the Tibetans, but with the problem with the humanity. Those things that you can do, you don't do. And then you say, I wish I have the opportunity. If I have the opportunity, I'll bring the mountain down, things like that, you see. Like, for example, very clear example, Tibetans make demonstration by saying, oh, in Tibet there is no freedom to preserve our culture, religion. True, that's true. There's no freedom and you have right to shout. But if you are sincere in these slogans, then what are you doing here? Here you have freedom. Are you really committed? Are you doing? Not. So that's the problem. It's classic problem with human way of thinking, you see. So you don't you only talk about getting those things which you don't have. And what you have, you don't appreciate. And I spoke about this in Russia. During one of the talk I said, we must appreciate what we have. So you're very lucky, you have many things. So one of them said, Geshe, I am a poor woman, I have nothing. See, this is how we see things. Immediately you measure what you have in terms of material collections. Then I told them, what? You don't have anything? What about your 2 eyes? You have 2 eyes? Yes, I have 2 eyes. 2 hands? Yes. 2 legs? Yes. This is the greatest treasure. Imagine those people who have no eye, no sight, no legs, no hands. Still they aspire to do something, Even they want to engage in, sports competition. Recently they had it in Brazil. After the men, even there was this competition of the differently disabled people. You see, so those of us who have this, it's a great opportunity to do things. You never know, number one, how long you are going to live. You never know how long you are able to physically function like this. So there's every reason to enjoy, if you think positively. Imagine if we are right now in Syria, especially in Mosul. You see, where there's intense fighting going on, bombardment going on in Iraq, Mosul, and then Syria, Imagine if we are there. So we are lucky, see here, sitting comfortably. What else we need? So it's a question of, appreciating the good things, the potential that you have, and then moving forward, not just sitting there as if you have none of these facilities. So in short, he's saying that may I possess these 7 qualities of having obtained the precious human life. The 7 qualities are that you possess a good complexion. Second, good physique. Third, magnificent or charismatic. Fourth, free from fourth, good to behold, look at. Fifth, free from sickness. Sixth, having great power. And seventh, long life. The 7 qualities of human birth. Then the 9th prayer is, may all beings becoming skilled in the methods. May all beings find freedom from sufferings. May they rely upon the 3 jewels and enjoy the immense wealth of the Buddha's teachings. Immense wealth. See, the Buddha's teachings are termed as immense wealth. As I explained earlier, these are the wealths that no robbers can rob and no thieves can steal. They will never become excess baggage. The ordinary material possessions, many of them excess baggage. And when you check in the airport, then they'll tell you. If you carry more than 20 clothes, they will tell you, Madam, sorry, excess baggage. You have to pay for that, you see. Buddha told about this long time back. Now we hear this repeatedly at the airport, you see. Excess baggage. So many of these unnecessary collections, even while you are alive, they are excess baggage. Of course, when you die, they are completely excess baggage. You can't take even a needle with you. Okay? May becoming skilled in the methods, may all beings find freedom from suffering, and may they rely upon the 3 jewels. That means in order to get freedom from suffering, the best way is to take refuge in the 3 jewels. And the result of taking refuge in the 3 jewels is that you possess the 10 powers, as we have already discussed, and enjoy the immense wealth. There is the 10 powers of the Buddha's teachings. May they abide in love, compassion, and joy, and maintain indifference towards delusions. These are called the 4 immeasurable qualities. Immeasurable love, immeasurable compassion, immeasurable joy, and immeasurable equanimity. May they be adorned by generosity, discipline, patience, effort, concentration, wisdom, the 6 perfections, as we already studied. Having thoroughly gathered all accumulations, may the signs and exemplary marks become prominent. May they proceed without interruption through the inconceivable grounds, 10 in all. That means may they become Buddha, where you get the 32 major signs and 80 minor signs. He used the term exemplary marks, 80 minor signs of the Buddha. Become prominent means become a Buddha. And to reach that state of Buddhahood, you need to proceed through the path. So you are saying that may I be able to proceed through the path without interruption, one by one, through the 10 grounds, okay, which we have already read. Then prayer number 11 is, having fulfilled the aspiration of merits long cherished for all beings, may I always work to dispel the sufferings of sentient beings. So that means the reason that you wanted to become a Buddha is not so that you can, once become Buddha, you relax. The purpose is to benefit countless sentient beings. Adorned with by these qualities and all others as well, may I find freedom from all faults and have utmost love for all sentient beings. So may I have all the qualities which we have already discussed, and similarly many other qualities which are explained in other teachings of the Buddha. So may I have these qualities as my adornment, as my ornament, and thus may I be able to get liberated from faults and show supreme love to all sentient beings. Having fulfilled the aspiration for merits, long cherished by all beings, may I always work to dispel the suffering of all sentient beings. Okay, this I have already read. Whoever in this world are aggrieved by fear, may they end all fear by the mere hearing of my name. So you, as a bodhisattva, your commitment is so much that you are saying that even if people hear my name, may they be able to get peace. Just like today, especially in the case of Buddhists, we recite the name mantra of the Buddha. We recite the name of Avalokiteshvara, we get peace. So you are saying that may I also be able to become like that, so that when people see me, they get happiness, they get peace. When they hear my name, they get peace and happiness. Just like when you hear the name of one of your best friend, you feel very happy. You see? When you see one of your best friend, you feel very happy. Because there's love, there's affection, there is support. So similarly, may I be able to become such a bodhisattva which becomes meaningful to behold for everybody. It is not that whoever sees you get frightened, run away from you. If you are a robber or a thief, a killer, then you can imagine how much fright and fear is created in the mind of so many people. So you're having done nothing, but just because of your appearance, you might create peace, you might create unhappiness. So this is very much dependent upon our internal mental situation. So that you train your mind so much that physically also you appear calm, peaceful, and is able to radiate that calmness, that peace to the surrounding. When I was studying in the Institute of Buddhist Dialectics, so sometimes we used to go to see Ling Rinpoche, His Holiness Senior Tutor. So when we are just near his compound, we used to feel peace, you see. So there are people like that, So it is possible, it is possible. By merely seeing and thinking or even hearing my name, may all beings become perfect, non-deceiving, serene, and assured of full enlightenment. So this don't need any explanation. By merely seeing and thinking or even hearing my name, may all beings become perfect and non-deceiving and serene. Serene means unperturbed. And what perturbs you, what agitates you is the internal afflictive emotions. And if you are without these afflictive emotions, you will be able to create that atmosphere, that environment. And assured of full enlightenment. That means there is a certainty, it is definite, there should be definiteness of achieving enlightenment. May they attain 5 clairvoyances that endure through all their lives. May one always strive to extend benefit and happiness to all sentient beings. So for oneself and especially for helping others, if you actualize qualities like the 5 clairvoyances, it will be a wonderful facility. Like through these 5 clairvoyances, you will be able to read other people's mind. You will be able to hear teachings or sounds which ordinary ear cannot hear. You will be able to see things which ordinary eye cannot see. So all this is possible through rigorous spiritual practice. And we have heard the story of Milarepa flying. Nowadays nobody would believe it. But even quite a recent story was told by one nun who came from Tibet, and later on she told this story, I think, to His Holiness, that when she was going for a pilgrimage, she happened to visit a mountain retreat center where some monks were there. So she saw with her eyes some of the monks flying to fetch water. It's a quite recent story, not at the time of Milarepa. So the possibilities are there. So it depends what you practice, whether you have the lineage and so many things. Okay? Even when you have not developed any clairvoyances, but if you are somebody who is really focusing more more within and pay more concentration, then you can hear more. You can hear more. You can see better. Because the real fuel is inside. If you take proper care of that engine, many things can be healed and many things become better. Whoever in all the worldly realms yearned to commit evils, may they altogether refrain from them, and thenceforth commit no evil. So these are prayers. And it is said that when Buddha travels for his alms, just by seeing Buddha, hatred disappears, anger disappears, jealousy disappears. So that's possible through practice. So this is the next prayers. Like earth, water, wind, fire, medicine and woods of the wild, may all beings always find joy freely and without obstruction. This is one a prayer which is very favorable to His Holiness Dalai Lama. He recites this prayer very often, this verse. Like just as the four elements, the earth, water, they have been helping us for countless generations. But they never asked any favor, or they never asked us to thank them. The sunshine, it gave warmth for so many countless periods of time, but never asked for thank you. The earth is supporting us all the time, but is not asking anything back. So similarly, a bodhisattva imagines himself like the earth, the fire, the water, the wind, and so forth. They think that my life is for others, not for me. The food you eat is also for others, so that you live healthy. The very purpose of living healthy is so that you are able to help others, not asking anything back. So such is the commitment. It's very powerful. Freely and without obstruction, you see. Unfortunately, because of human greed, we have, as I said, started selling water. But otherwise, water, air, these things should be freely enjoyed without obstruction. Then prayer number, may I be precious like the life to all beings, and they be more precious to me. Like His Holiness Dalai Lama has become a life to all beings. That's why we repeatedly offer long life prayer to him. And they be more precious to me. May their negativity ripen upon me, and all my merits ripen upon them. So that's called practice of exchange of self to others. Until now, because of self-cherishing attitude, we want the best thing for oneself and not the best thing, not so good things for others. Now you exchange this way of thinking. May others get the best. Okay? Just as you've been taking care of yourself, you take more care about others. The result is you will be the main beneficiary. It's an interesting thing. You are not doing this with selfishness, but if you do it with selfishness, then outcome will not be there. But if you sincerely help others, do things for others, you will reap the benefit. You will be the beneficiary. For example, as His Holiness always says, if I meditate on compassion to all of you, thinking how nice if they all meet happiness and so forth, without suffering and so forth. If I'm not a very highly realized person, I may not have any effect upon you, You may not even know what I'm thinking, but I get the benefit because I develop this positive attitude, positive emotion. It will have a liberating effect upon me. Negative emotions like self-cherishing attitude, self-grasping, they imprison us. They imprison us. As I told you earlier, the difference between negative emotions and positive emotions is that the positive emotions are based on sound foundation. There is a reason to develop these positive emotions. Why should you develop positive emotions? Why should you develop this pro-social emotions and so forth? But in the negative emotions, there is no solid foundation, there is no reason. The positive emotions have a wider perspective, like love and compassion, love, compassion to everybody, wider perspective. Negative emotions like attachment, one object. I like this car, not other car. I like this person, not other. Narrow-minded. So any emotion which is narrow, selfish, they will constrict you. They will suffocate you. I mean, you can see, for example, when we all have this experience of getting angry. When you really, really get angry, do you feel liberating? Do you feel that freedom? Do you feel that openness? No. You're not even able to breathe by saying, last time also you said this to me, and today also, you're not able to breathe. Blood pressure increases. And you're not sure what you are saying. Just things are coming out. It makes you crazy, mad, you see. So these positive practices have liberating effect. You open up, see the wider perspective, something is wrong here, okay, no problem, there are many good things here, When you develop these negative emotions, you focus only on that negativity. I am the most unfortunate person, I have this problem, You don't see anything else. It's only you who is suffering. And because of this mental attitude, the suffering may be tiny, it may be small, but because of your narrow-minded way of looking at things, you suffer more. And these people who have this kind of attitude, when they physically get ill, it takes much, much longer time for them to heal. It is now scientifically proved. Okay? So may I be precious life, precious like life to all beings, and they be more precious to me. May their negativity ripen upon me. That's what I'm saying, and all my merits ripen upon them, just like mother to her son, to her child. As long as even a few beings remain in bondage in samsara, here in the samsara or elsewhere, or here in this place or some other place. Until then, may I too remain, even if I attain enlightenment. So your commitment is such that you postpone your personal enlightenment. And the very reason to become enlightened is to help others. So therefore, if it is needed that you postpone your enlightenment to help one sentient being, I will do that. That's the commitment. If merits attained from such expressions were to assume form, it would be as many as the sands on the Ganges, that even the world could not contain. So it's saying that if such merit has a physical form, then there will be no place to put it. It will be so huge. This is what the Blessed One taught, and this is where rationality is sought. Just as world of sentient beings are limitless, so too are the wishes to benefit others. So the 20th prayer finishes with the verse 85, I think. Yeah, 85. And this verse 86 is a summary. This is what the Blessed One taught, and this is where rationality is sought. Just as worlds of sentient beings are limitless, similarly, the wishes to benefit others are also limitless. Then he is saying that this is not just me saying, but this is explained in many sutras. Whatever dharma in all its brevity I may have imparted unto you. Yeah. Whatever dharma. So in the next verse he is saying that you should therefore develop joy in being able to do the dharma practice. Whatever dharma in all its brevity I may have imparted unto you, may you always cherish them as much as you cherish your body. That means if you cherish your dharma, cherish this dharma, then it's equal to cherishing your body. Because the health of your body and mind will come if you take care of the dharma. So that's the meaning. And if you don't take care of dharma, you will not know how to take care of your body. Even if you wash your body several times and put a lot of perfumes, that is not the process of taking care of your body. If you read Shantideva's book called Shiksha Samuchaya, Compendium of Precepts, so there he explains how to protect your body. To help others, you must protect your body. And the process of protecting your body is gaining the knowledge of the Dharma. Okay? Then he tells so now some of the parting advices. Then he tells the king, rely upon Dharma as you would do to yourself. Rely upon practice as you would do to Dharma. Rely upon wisdom. No, sorry, I missed one line. To whomever Dharma is dear, to them their body is truly dear. Nourishing whatever is dear, it is done through Dharma alone. Okay, this is very clear. I have explained this to you. And then he asks us to practice the 6 dharmas. Rely upon Dharma as rely upon Dharma as you would to yourself. Rely upon practice as you would to Dharma. Rely upon wisdom as you would to practice. Rely upon the learned as you would to wisdom. So, having shown that taking care of Dharma is taking care of your body, and having said that just as you would cherish your body, cherish the Dharma, and then he says this is also dependent upon the proper process of practice. And to do the rely upon Dharma as you would do to yourself means do proper practice of Dharma. Rely upon practice as you would do Dharma. Now, to properly practice, you need to develop proper wisdom. So, rely upon wisdom as you would do practice. Okay? So, show respect and veneration to the wisdom. And the development of wisdom is very much dependent upon your teacher. So, rely upon the learned, that means your teacher, somebody who has the knowledge, who can guide you. Because you cannot know this just by yourself. Okay? And then in the next verse, he is saying that if you don't relate to a qualified master, then it's a great disadvantage. By harboring undue doubts, even to the chaste, loving and wise, who expresses encouraging words, your goals shall remain unaccomplished. That means if you don't rely on proper teacher who is chaste in terms of having less negative emotion, who is loving, who is wise, who teaches, and uses encouraging words, and if you don't rely on such a teacher because of certain doubts, doubt also unnecessary, undue doubts, harboring undue doubts, then your goal shall remain unaccomplished. Right? Yes, it is important to cross-examine the teacher, but if you unnecessarily have doubt towards everybody, then you will never find even one single teacher. Because even the teachers, they come in the form of a human being. They don't come in the form of a Buddha, perfect, you see. And then the so-called fault that you see in the teacher also, not necessarily the fault of the teacher, maybe the fault of the teacher, maybe not. This is how you see things. And I remember this very well once when His Holiness taught the Lama Chopa, Guru Puja, where it is said that you should see the Lama as the completely enlightened Buddha. Then the reason is not saying that he is enlightened Buddha, but even if the enlightened Buddha comes, he will come in the form of an ordinary human being. He will not be able to come in the form of a completely enlightened Buddha, which, the halo of light around and like that, you see. And then he gave the example by saying, if you are to help a cat, give him milk or whatever, if you want to help the cat, then the best way of calling that cat is meow. Not talking, you see. So it's better, it will be easier for you to relate to cat by using its own voice. Similarly, to relate to ordinary human beings also, the lamas, enlightened beings, they come in the form of ordinary human beings. Okay? But that is not to say that all teachers are perfect. Of course, you should examine properly. And then he speaks about the qualities of a teacher. Whoever is whoever is chaste, loving, wise and confident and speaks whatever is beneficial, may such a one be one's own master, to tame oneself in both words and action. Then he explains the qualities of a teacher. Know briefly the defining qualities of your spiritual master as they are. The qualities are contentment, compassion, discipline, and wisdom that dispels delusions. There are so many qualities, but few qualities are very, very important. That the teacher should be contented. He's not looking for wealth, number one. Second, compassion. If there is no compassion, he is not going to help the suffering sentient beings. And then discipline. And of course, wisdom. If that means he should have more knowledge than the students. And especially the knowledge of wisdom that dispels delusion. That's the main purpose. Whenever these are seen, acknowledge and reward them well. By following this excellent system alone, you shall achieve the highest realization. That's clear? Be truthful and speak pleasantly to sentient beings. So that means, having found such teacher or even otherwise, how should you live? The way you should live your life is, be truthful and speak pleasantly to sentient beings. That means when you speak to others, you should be soft and pleasant. Be good-natured. Be good-natured means easy to associate with other people. People who knows how to live in harmony with other people. As I said earlier, today's modern problem is people don't know how to live alone and also don't know how to live with others. So this is saying that your behavior should be such, your nature should be such that people can easily talk to you, easily associate with you. Be good-natured and yield not to influence easily. This translation I don't readily agree, but at the same time you should have some depth. Easily approachable does not mean that you should be shallow, that you should have some depth, especially of the teachings. so that you are able to really influence them and show them the path. Be well disciplined, yet not reproachable, right? Well disciplined doesn't mean that you should look down upon others. Be free-spirited and speak wisely. Now here, free-spirited means that you should have sharp wisdom. If you have sharp wisdom, then you will have a free spirit. And speak wisely. Speak wisely means speak lovingly, but not simply to please others. Speak lovingly, but if it is necessary to correct others and highlight their fault, then you should, with love and affection, highlight their fault and tell them this is not good, you should stop doing these things. Because in the name of loving somebody, if you never highlight their fault, they will never improve. There is a story of one Tibetan teacher. When he was requested to give teaching, he would always say, "You want teaching from me? Then you sit. I have nothing to teach except highlighting your faults." See? So not many people like to have their faults highlighted. That's why when you sit for a teaching, if you say, "Oh, the Lama's teaching is so good," it probably is because what he is saying is something that you know or you liked. If he said something which highlights your fault, you may not like it so much. And especially if you are singled out and your fault is highlighted, you will get crazy, you will get mad, you will start fighting. Who are you to highlight my fault? So therefore, the real purpose of teaching is to hit the target, to highlight the fault, and then live a life where you are able to reduce these faults. Speak wisely, that's the meaning. Exude admirable person and be mentally calm. Be humble, conscientious and generous. Be non-distracted and avoid false hopes. Be non-deceitful and remain forever steadfast. So that means you should not have resentment, you should practice giving, you should mentally be calm and without excitement, should not be fickle, should not be lazy, should not be deceiving others, things like that. Then kind of conclusion. Be as clear or chaste as a full moon, as glorious as an autumn sun, as deep as an ocean, and as firm as the king of mountains. That means you should be calm like the moon. And you should be glorious and radiant like the autumn sun. And you should be like an ocean, means that nobody will be able to fathom the depth of your mind. And you should be like firm as the king of mountain, means those positive qualities that you have developed, you must maintain them firmly. You should not keep on changing your qualities. If you are practicing Buddhist here in Dharamsala, then you do the same practice in other places also. It's not that you do the practice here, then you go back to Germany or go back to Japan or go back to some other place, you forget. You mingle with the rest of the people. And I have that experience. I'm sure you all have that experience. Before I was translating for His Holiness Dalai Lama, of course, like other people, I go to receive his teaching. And I read very carefully, take notes, and I feel so inspired and moved. I must do something. Very inspired. You know how long it lasts? Until to the gate of the temple. Believe me, don't laugh. I'm sure you're in the same boat. So when you cross that threshold of the door of the temple, it really looks like saying, welcome back to the same familiar crowd, Geshe Lhakdor, come back. You're completely sucked and carried away into the rest of the crowd, and then you started living exactly like as you used to live before. It's hard, it's not easy, you see. So that's why we need to study this text, repeatedly listen to all this teaching, repeatedly read this text, make it part of your life, get habituated. So much so that the changing situations, circumstances will not distract you. Otherwise it will be like honeymoon, you know. Then the next verse is said to be the real summary, or the main summary, which talks about the qualities of the Buddha. So you are basically saying, may I become Buddha, who is thoroughly freed from all defects and adorned with all good qualities, and who strive for the welfare of all beings, and become an enlightened master myself. Enlightened master means Buddha, complete enlightened master. And then the next verse is saying that although I am directly giving this teaching to you, the king, but it's not just for you, it's for everybody. I impart this Dharma not for the king alone, but for the beings of all kinds, with my sole intention to help. That I and all sentient beings attain the state of complete enlightenment. O king, whatever I have said here as advice is worth contemplating at every day, or every sitting, or every hour. As I already mentioned, it's not only when you are in Dharamsala. Every day, just as we eat food every day, and in fact 4-5 times every day. So these spiritual practices also you should do as many as possible, as regularly as possible. Then only you can change and you can transform, you can help others. The last verse, why it is proper to get all these qualities. Observe discipline, revere your teacher, practice tolerance, and forsake jealousy. Read miserliness, and help the poor and the rich with no expectations. With no expectations. If you expect something, then you get into trouble. As I give you the example of the 4 elements, they've been helping us, but they never expected anything. Just as you help yourself without expecting anything, similarly help others without expecting anything. Follow or discard the appropriate and the inappropriate accordingly. So you should know what to adopt and what to discard. Practice this at all times, O upholder of Dharma, O aspirants of Buddha. So this is his final. This concludes the 5th chapter of Precious Garland, the Deeds of Bodhisattva. Okay, thank you very much. I think I overstayed a little bit, sorry for that, but we finish it at least. So there may be many things which I'm not clear, you are also not clear, I'm also not clear, but it's a wonderful opportunity that we got this precious opportunity to read this precious text. We read more, pay more attention. Life is short, there are too many things to do. There's no need to do everything. So make good choice and be happy. Thank you very much.